All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chase Corrington, and this is my YouTube channel. Today we are reading from Dr. Wayne W. Dyer's Wisdom of the Ages because it is Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Wednesday Wisdom. Thank you so much for joining me again. Today's reading is going to be something I think we could all use. It's titled Physical Perfection. And it's a little poem by Walt Whitman, but I think it's going to be a bit about us appreciating ourselves in our physical form more. So often we're talking about the metaphysical or the spiritual aspect of things, or maybe even the mind and, you know, what we think about and all this kind of stuff. But today we're going to talk about physical perfection and maybe how we can get over the imperfection of our physical nature. But let's just dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Today's poem comes from Walt Whitman, 1819 to 1892. Walt Whitman was an American essayist, journalist, and poet, made his major themes the sacredness of life in all of its forms, even death, and the equality of all people. And so this little bit here, the stanza from the poem is, "To me, every cubic inch of space is a miracle. Welcome is every organ and attitude of me. Not an inch nor a particle of an inch is vile." Interesting. Wayne Dyer begins here by saying the physical body, composed of molecules and atoms, is constantly changing. Inside the body, in a placeless place, is the eternal observer, which is the unchanging divine nature, which is us, ladies and gentlemen. Walt Whitman honored his body and its continuous state of change from this sacred perspective. He once observed, if anything is sacred, the human body is sacred. What is your reaction to that statement? Most of us have trouble. You know, it's almost like, man, I need an upgrade on my vehicle here while I'm riding through this journey. But how do you feel about the body that you occupy? Wayne Dyer asks. Your answer has a great deal to do with the quality of your life, both your material life and your spiritual life. Your attitude towards your body literally impacts the atoms and molecules that comprise your body. So see, that's a fascinating, powerful statement there. And it's something that takes some time and research to come to accept in your own world. And it's most important to understand is your attitude towards your body literally impacts the atoms and molecules that comprise our body. Deepak Chopra, MD, often says to his audiences, and if you've never listened to Deepak Chopra, look him up. That's Deepak Chopra. And he's a wonderful speaker as well, big friend of Dr. Wayne Dyer's. Often says to his audiences, happy thoughts make happy molecules, pointing out that the chemical composition of tears of joy varies dramatically from the chemical composition of tears of sadness. Isn't that fascinating? See, there's science to this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We're not just talking about, oh, think better and you'll feel better. And it's all just, it's like there's actually solid foundation to these philosophies that most people take for granted. And so be at peace with your body and treasure its various organs, rivers of fluids, and solid structures of bone, and have an attitude of awe as it moves, thinks, dreams, calculates, loves, and constantly changes. This state of wonder is what Walt Whitman is asking you to embrace when you contemplate the miracle that is your ever-changing body. There is nothing about your body that is vile or imperfect. It is not too short, tall, stocky, dark, fair, or anything else. The color of your hair The amount that is left, maybe, the places that it grows are all in divine order, even though it may not seem that way in the moment. Wayne Dyer continues, your breasts are just the size they're supposed to be. Your eyes, the right color, your lips are the proper fullness, while your happy thoughts can create healthy molecules. And your mind has a great deal to do with your level of health, which is another thing that's most important for people to understand and research so that they can come to that conclusion for their own selves. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. So it's good to come to these understandings in your own way, ladies and gentlemen. And your mind, like Wayne Dyer was saying here, has a great deal to do with your level of health. Essentially, your body is a naturally functioning system. You actually showed up in this body, its shape, size, and what have erroneously been called handicaps are all in perfect order. A few weeks after conception, a heart started beating inside your mother's womb, and your body began to form, independent of your opinion about it. This process of bodybuilding is a mystery to everyone on the planet. Who can explain it? Out of nothing, your body began to journey, fingers and toes forming from a tiny drop of human protoplasm. How? And like, really ask, how? What does this process? From where? Who is to question the wisdom of the future pull inside of a seed? Like that's the great thing. He always talks about a tomato seed and, you know, the future potential of tomato-ness. It's like there's no tomatoes inside of the seed. There's just the future potential. Given the right circumstances, the universe will just develop tomatoes out of the tomato essence-ness of the seed. Like when you cut open a tomato seed, which is a funny story, you just find this dust, this brown dust. And remember our poem from, what was it? Emily Dickinson, I think. This quiet dust was gentlemen. Wait, is this it? No, I was trying to find it. This quiet dust was gentlemen, ladies, lads. Sighs and laughs. Such a good one. Can't find it at the moment, but anyways, this quiet dust, ladies and gentlemen, it's like the future pull, the potential that comes from nothing. And it's like, what does this process? It's an interesting question to ask. The future pull inside that seed. Now, Wayne Dyer continues, now you reside in this body that is changing just as drastically outside the womb as it did inside. And you get to observe it all. You, the invisible eye, the ghost inside the machine, interesting way to use that phrase, the occupier of this perfect creation. This body is yours like a curriculum in school. Only this is your curriculum to God, to the great. This is our way to increase our level of consciousness and maybe the consciousness of the entire universe. But that's up for you to decide for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Simply put, though, our bodies can be thought of as our curriculum to God. In other words, what we need to go through to learn to get to the level of graduation. Only this is your house of, it says God, but I'm always trying to find a better way because, you know, the term God is just so overused and it's anthropomorphized. It's, you know, usually referring to a figure rather than a force, rather than what it is that grows tomatoes from the dust that is inside of a tomato seed, given the right conditions and all that stuff. It's just like, this is our house. of creation, being a part of creation. And it is in this body, while it is here on this planet, that God, this great force, the Tao, divine universal intelligence, animating intelligence, great spirit, can be realized. Fascinating. So this is our house of the great spirit, and it is in this house, in this body, while we're here on this planet, that the great spirit can be realized. To find anything about this house of God to be vile or disgusting is to sully the temple that is the one place in the universe where you know, easy for me to say, where you know you can realize God. I was going to say where you now know. It's just too many words there. No one can stop, Wayne Dyer continues, the process that is the ever-changing body. No one can alter the fundamental structure of the body. You live in something that has an invisible future pull, taking it wherever its nature will take it. Do not detest any part of it unless you wish to deny the wisdom that created you. This is a interesting one, ladies and gentlemen. Treat your body like a guest who visits and then must leave. While it is here, don't neglect it, don't poison it, honor it, welcome it, and allow it to take its course, which is ultimately to leave as it came, back to where it came from. Make it fun to watch your body go through its designated phases. Be in awe of every inch of it. When you stub your toe or cut a finger or pull a muscle and are constantly brought back to this little pain that makes even the simplest of functions most noticeable, stop and remind yourself how grateful you are to have toes, fingers, muscles. Remind yourself of how they work perfectly with no awareness at all from you most of the time. It's like when you do this, you're not like, okay, muscles, and you're not thinking about the actions of every little, it does it on its own. I'm not sure what I'll title this video. Maybe I'll just title it Coming to Know Your Physical Perfection. Anyways, we'll think about that. And it's like they work perfectly with no awareness from you most of the time. Why ever have an unwelcome thought about your body or ever look at this ever-changing divine creation with contempt? You are privileged to have the body you have, so honor it as if it is the garage in which you park your soul. Refuse to have contemptuous thoughts about your soul's garage, your body. Don't complain about its size, color, or worn out places. As long as you are grateful, in a state of awe, you will be unlikely to neglect it. You'll be much more likely to keep it repaired, sparkling and clean, healthy and vibrant. And when you look inside, when the you inside looks with amazement and wonder, views with awe every inch of this universe, knowing that there are no mistakes. See, this is like adopting a philosophy. Because if you don't adopt this philosophy, my whiskers are itching me. If you don't adopt this philosophy, the irony of that one, huh? It's like this philosophy that everything is the way it's supposed to be. And then you can begin to move beyond the things that, we used to take for granted. I'll continue. As long as you are grateful and in a state of awe, you will be unlikely to neglect it. Sparkling, clear, amazing reviews. See, this is the philosophy here. When the you on the inside, when the you on the inside, who you are, looks at life with amazement and wonder, views with awe every inch of this universe, knowing that there are no mistakes. Just let that one sink in for a minute. And then that's how you can begin to adopt a lot of the philosophies that we've talked about in this series and every video on this channel. But it's like you have to become aware of this possibility and then begin to adopt this viewpoint of wonder and awe and know that there is no mistakes. If your hair chooses to grow, continuing back with what we were saying about the body, and Wayne Dyer continues by saying, if your hair chooses to grow in your ears, on your shoulders, and in your nose rather than on the top of your head, then so be it. That's funny because he was bald most of it. And if your skin loosens around your bones, then applaud the loosening process. Refuse to cling to the flesh as though it were going to last forever. Each body is gripped by death. And yet the paradox remains. Within that same body dwells the immortal self. See your body as a place from which to observe the world. Choose to do so from the miraculous, sacred perspective that Walt Whitman cited so frequently in his magnificent poetry. Here are some suggestions for applying the wisdom of Walt Whitman's observations to your daily life, ladies and gentlemen. Stuttering a little bit today, or stumbling, either way, it's all fun and games. We're just here to learn and grow, and I hope you're getting value, and if you are, consider subscribing. This has been an interesting one. Normally I get a little more talkative. I'll go on tangents a whole lot, but I think this one's pretty right to the point. And so here are those suggestions from Walt Whitman that we can apply in our daily life. Number one, give thanks every day for this temple that houses your soul. And I'll add there, like you say, why? Why should I be thankful when, I'm struggling, when I have foot pains, or, if all of the different maladies that we face, different opportunities we face in our lives in the physical way. And it's like, why should I give thanks every day for this temple that houses my soul? And it's like, because we are here. Some people have it much harder off. Some people live 30 years in a coma. So maybe that's a reason to be thankful for this temple, for the fact that you can look out the window or take a deep breath, the fact that you can hear things. Maybe, there's so many reasons. And sometimes I think when we're told to be thankful and be grateful, we come up with all the reasons why we shouldn't be. But if you convince yourself in the other direction, you begin to see that there's so many reasons why we should be. And, I think that's a big part of happiness in life, is like, we're always convincing ourselves of the reasons why we should be unhappy, when there's plenty of reasons why we should be all right and happy with what's going on. And we just, for some reason, tend to go towards the bad. I guess it's in our nature. I don't know. Let's continue. This was number one on how we can apply the wisdom of Walt Whitman's observations to our daily life on this topic of understanding our own physical perfection. Give thanks. Number one was give thanks every day for our body, for this temple that is our garage for our soul. Give verbal appreciation for your liver, your eyesight, your pancreas, every organ, every inch of your body. Simply say, thank you, God. Thank you, Tao. Thank you, Source, whatever it is for you. Thank you, Universe. Thank you, God, for this always changing, and always perfect place for me to observe from. Number 2, become more aware of how you choose to treat this miracle of a body. Talk to it as you give it exercise, good food, and generous amounts of fresh water. I bless you, wondrous body of mine, by being more aware of what a perfect creation you are. I will avoid mistreating you. Observe the changes that take place in your body with joy. This is number 3, rather than displeasure. Refuse to call any part of your body flawed. God does not deal in flawed material. The creation source that is still going, unending creation, it doesn't, there is no flawed creations. I don't know. That's an interesting argument. I'm sure a mystic, a philosopher, and a, physicist or whatever, theoretical physicist would go back and forth on that one for the next 2,000 years. But once again, it's up to you to come to your own conclusions, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just trying to lay down some wisdom of the ages so that we can try to reach and maintain a higher quality of life and more happiness as we go through life. Number 4, a body that is cared for has a greater opportunity to advance the spiritual life. It is out of the spiritual, invisible dimension that the material world is created. Purity of thought will help you to maintain a pure, healthy body. And remember, the molecules that are created, when we think thoughts, our brain generates molecules and, all these different things, endorphins, and there's like 12 names for them all, and it affects the function of our body. So if you want to create stress hormones and stress chemicals to put your body in a fight or flight, react kind of state, then have, negative, stressful thoughts. But if you want to heal your body with your thoughts, then you can also do that. And it's up to you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, research this on your own. These topics are life-changing. And so it is out of the spiritual, invisible dimension that the material world is created. Purity of thought will help you to maintain a pure, healthy body. Remember, thoughts heal the body, not the other way around. Interesting. This is why a welcoming attitude of awe and gratitude toward the body is such an important factor in the enhancement of your spiritual life, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. That was kind of a calm and simple one, I think. And it was real succinct, right to the point. Didn't have to do too much elaboration on that, or maybe I'm just not in the elaborating mood today, but that's fine. Sometimes these videos run on a bit too long, and I'll keep it there. The next one, ladies and gentlemen, next Wednesday Wisdom, is agelessness. It's from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Fascinating, ladies and gentlemen. And don't we all want to go from what we were just talking about to agelessness? Fascinating. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I'll leave it there today. Keep your time in mind. But, it really does mean a lot to me, to those of you who do spend time here watching these videos with me and Dr. Wayne Dyer and Walt Whitman and Lao Tzu and the reading of the Tao and the wisdom of the ages and all these wonderful life-changing ideas. Because if we can change the quality of our life, increase the quality of our life through our own efforts, at first it's like coming to know that you can have an impact and effect on the quality of your daily life by just putting in some learning, some new perspectives, opening the mind to new ideas. So continue, ladies and gentlemen, to seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment. Seek to discover the hidden wisdom of the ages, and seek to make happiness the way, because when happiness is what you bring to life, and it's the way that you go through life, then the destination and the happiness that we were so long striving for, trying to get to, becomes irrelevant because we're already there, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Thank you so much. We'll be back in the future with more Tuesday Tao, Wednesday Wisdom, and wonderful wisdom of the ages. And, life-changing, hopefully helpful knowledge that really has an impact on not only you, but those around you. And maybe we can lift up the world a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, because don't we all need that? All right. Love you. We'll be back.